Okay, I'll go ahead and skip that story altogether. What I was going to quickly say was that Charles Sterling had actually made this tweet um, that the Power BI refresh feature has been updated, and he just went ahead and added my Twitter handle, which was dchristian19. And I had no clue what he said until I reached out to him, and he said that now it'll automatically refresh. So as a test, here's what I have. I actually have, this is a Power BI report. It's not a dashboard, it's a report, which means I've got all the visualizations and everything, and I've got my Power App in it over here. So as a quick test, what I'm going to do is, say I'm a school teacher or an administrator, and I'm going to go ahead and put in some names. So I'll start messing around with, say, Shane Young. And Shane Young, I'm going to put in his math score. Now Shane's pretty good at math, so I'm going to give him 90, say 96, pick a date, which is, say, he did in the past, so 7th. Highest score available for that test was there, school teacher me. And now if I hit, watch what happens. The report automatically updates. Now this is the new feature that came out, I think, about a month and a half ago. Couple of things, normal questions that are asked to me is, did you have to run any flow on this? No, this is no longer a feature that is available. This is now directly added into the PowerApps, the Power BI integration with PowerApps. You are not limited to the number of refreshes you can do, because like I said, I'm just a Power BI Pro user, so I should only have 8 refreshes a day. I was able to go ahead and do this 15, 20 times without any problems. It just goes through, and then the visualizations are so well connected with the Power App. So I want to actually show you an example. So there's literature, there's math, but if I go ahead and say add, what else? Can I put in, say, science? And say Shane only gets 60 on that. I go ahead and put in 7, test score. I hit submit. Now watch what happens. Everything will get updated based on that entry I'm doing because of the deep integration between Power BI and Power Apps. So I spelled science wrong, but I went ahead and put in science over here, and as you can see, it went ahead and added another column on that table over there. It went ahead and updated this visualization. It went ahead and updated that visualization. But let's not stop over there, because another common question I'm added is, hey Daniel, it works on adding, does it refresh on deleting? So let's go ahead and test that as well. So I'm just going to go into my Power Apps section over here, and I see, okay, Shane's, let's delete that science one. And I delete that, and I go back, and as you can see, it went down again. This refresh feature is actually pretty cool now, because what I've noticed is people have started adding entries now through Power App directly in this one place, and they want that Power BI report to automatically reflect the data changes that happen over there. Again, in the past, I would think about a month and a half ago, this wasn't possible. This is the Power BI integration feature which is available. And let me show you quickly what that feature is. So I'm actually going to open this up on, let me just edit over here. Because the key thing which is available now is this new functionality which is available on the Power App side. So just to give you guys a quick outline on how to do that, when you go ahead and create a report, you can go, you've got whatever report that you have all the data sources that are available over there. You will have to, in your visualizations, out of the box, Power BI is not, the Power Apps is not available. You got to click on the actual, click on this visualizations over here, the ellipses or the 3 dots, go to the marketplace and just search for the Power Apps over there. It is free, you don't have to pay for that. You just got to go to the marketplace and get it. And then after that, you can actually go ahead and, when you click on the edit, it takes you straight into the Power Apps. Now, in the Power Apps section, you got to make sure that you have this showing up, the Power BI integration. If you do not see the Power BI integration feature over there, that means your Power BI is not talking to Power Apps. I have every single time I open it up from the Power BI, I go ahead and select all the columns that I have over there, and I open it up in Power Apps. I have been successful every single time. So this connection is pretty easy. There's no, give me a second, I'll go ahead and answer at the end. It's pretty seamless over there. And then the key thing is after you go ahead and finish off, in your submit button and everything, and I actually, in my submit, I have this pop-up that comes up, so I'm going to show you. In this yes button, this is that new function which is available. Power BI integration dot refresh. This did not exist in the past. There was something else. It was actually Power BI return, if I'm not mistaken. But the Power BI integration dot refresh is the new feature. You don't have to put in anything inside the brackets or inside the function. You just got to write in Power BI refresh, integration dot refresh, close the parentheses or the brackets, and then it'll refresh the screen right back for you. Another thing that I have noticed, in fact, that was brought to my attention at the workshop also yesterday. We had somebody who had built a Power App, like a year ago, and wants to go ahead and add the refresh into it, and she was not successful. And it wasn't even her fault. What happened was, the app already exists. She went ahead and embedded that app into a Power BI report, but when she went ahead and tried to open it up into the Power BI, from the Power BI into Power Apps, for some reason, this would not open over here. So, this function was not available over here, the Power BI integration refresh. So what that tells me is right now, as we stand, if you want to leverage the Power BI integration feature, you have to build the app from scratch, which means you got to go into the Power BI, you got to go ahead and pick all your columns that you want over there, and then open up a new app which you're building in from the Power BI side. Now there's again workarounds for that. If any of you have actually built Power BI apps before, it's actually pretty simple. Just have two screens open and you can do a lot of copy and paste because the Power Apps Studio will copy and paste over all your controls over, it'll copy and paste all your syntax and everything over. It actually takes all the information in pretty well over there. But right now as we stand, any existing apps that you go ahead and bring it in, that Power BI integration dot refresh formula or function doesn't show up. It only shows up for new apps that you're going to start building from scratch after you've made the integration piece. It is something which the product team has been told, so they will look at it and maybe in the future roadmap it'll show up. But that's the key thing is I want to show you is that the Power BI integration refresh does work, and key thing is it does not affect your number of refreshes that you have available on the Power Apps, on the Power BI side, because there's limited number of refreshes over there. And then last, but definitely not the least, the one common question that comes up, which I do want to tell you guys is, and I got to go back to my slide deck. Let's see. Come on, work. All right. Any data source which has a direct query, those are the only ones where the Power BI refresh function will work. So for the SharePoint people, Power BI SharePoint does not have a direct query functionality available because but if for some people who have an on-prem SharePoint and they've got access to the SQL database, they could potentially do this because even the on-prem SQL servers will have the direct query functionality. And so all of these are actually the existing data sources that are available with direct query. The other one that I've actually tested is even CDS entities, and it actually works, but it is still in the final piece of testing, which is why I haven't added to the list. But CDS also will go ahead and do the direct query refresh. So key things to take away is that the Power BI refresh will update your report, and it doesn't need any pre-scheduled refreshes or whatsoever. But your main thing you want to focus on is that all the data sources or your data connections needs to fall in this list, because only these items in this list have the direct query functionality. Otherwise, it will not work. So, I actually did pretty good. I still have 4 minutes left over here. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead. Get your microphone. The gentleman right here. All right, I'll just walk up over here.
SQL SSAS is not on that list.
All right, he said SQL SSAS is not on the list. My answer to that is, I'm sorry. that's all I can say. But one other thing, to answer that though in a different way is that list grows fast. So the slide deck will be available to you after this. You can always go ahead and log in. I would for someone like you, I would bookmark that link over there and just keep an eye on these data sets over here, because at one time there were very few, and it's constantly getting updated. Now, the direct query only works with legitimate databases like SQL or Oracle or any of these data lake type of databases, which already have the direct query functionality built into it. It'll work with that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's already going to come up over there. Just keep an eye on it. Well, what I wanted to show it to you guys is what they've officially said. So yeah, but just keep an eye on that. There's somebody else. He was actually next.
Hello. Any interactions with RLS? Any gotchas or anything that you've worked with?
Say that again?
Row level security through Power BI?
Yeah, so the Power BI row levels, his question was any row level security on the Power BI side. So one of the beautiful things I like about this connection is however the database connections are set up, even the lookups and the relationships that you've done on the Power BI side, those automatically get translated over to the Power Apps as well. Now, if you've done any row level security on the Power BI side for those data connections, those also translate over to the Power Apps. Because at the end of the day, it's just data that's flowing over there. So again, if a user logged in and he or she should not be seeing any of those datas on the report section over there, then those will not even reflect over to the Power Apps. It doesn't overtake that. It still remains the relationship. That's a good question. Yeah.
Thank you.
There are 2 more minutes left. Any other question? He's got a question.
Hi, can you use PowerApps to pass parameters to Power BI?
Yeah. All right. So his question was, can you use PowerApps to pass parameters back to Power BI? Technically, yes, you can. You will have to come up with some way to actually append into the Power BI URL. It's not an easy way to do it. There is no out-of-the-box way to do it as well. You can just append it back to the URL. One thing I do tell people is that whatever you appended back over there, as far as writing it back to the database, again, they have to fall on this list of direct queries over there. But to answer your question, yes, you can. There's no easy way to do it. So you'll have to do it as a postfix on the URL of that, actually.
That URL encrypted?
Does the URL take what?
Is encrypted?
Yes. Well, as far as authentication goes, yeah. But if you already have access to the Power BI report and you're already able to view it, then it'll work. It'll work, yeah. It is, the authentication doesn't change. Yeah. Actually, I'm out of time right now. If anybody has any questions, please stop by. Thank you for coming over here. And if you've got any questions or need anything, stop by. I will be redoing this session again tomorrow at 9:30. So if you came in late, I'll be redoing this session all.